viewers, I'm working on finishing up this Specialized mountain bike here, and it's got Suntour XCT V2 forks on there. Well, they're kind of a little bit sticky there. They're kind of catching a little bit. Probably never have maintenance on them. So what I'm going to do is go ahead, take them apart, clean them, lube them, and put them all back together, and show you the whole process. And I'll start off by removing the wheel, release the brake there. Got that out of the way. Next, I want to remove these brakes, get them out of the way. Okay, let's open up these forks and see what's in there. This side here has a little preload adjuster on it. This one does not. So I think this one is just a dummy cap and there's just nothing in this tube. So we'll go ahead and open this one here. I've got a Suntour fork tool. You can find these on eBay, Amazon, or your local bike shop. I do not recommend trying to remove these without the proper tool, but they're cheap. So you can even find little plans online for 3D printers to print copies of these tools as well. So there's no reason not to use the proper tool. Just unscrew this. And so you got the little preload adjuster cap out. And then I should be able to just compress these and get there. And so there's the coil out of here. And so I got this out, and oh, that's greasy. Ugh. So like I thought, there doesn't seem to be anything over in this tube, so I don't think there's any reason to remove this cap unless there's maybe a bolt or something in there, but I don't think there is. So now I'm ready to remove the lowers. Down inside this tube here, down there, there's a bolt, and you can either use a 12mm socket like this, or you can use a 5mm hex bit like this, and you're going to need a long extension to reach it. So I'm going to go with the 12mm socket. So I'm just going to reach down there, and you can feel it kind of lock onto there. So, okay, so it's locked on right there. And now on the bottom, there's a nut down here. It's a 10mm nut, and so you're going to need a little ratchet for that. So I got like a 10mm socket here. And so what I'm going to do is just loosen this nut like this, and then at this point I can just go ahead and turn it off by hand like that. So at this point I should be able to just pull the lowers off, just push them down, and just like that. And so yeah, there's only a bolt in the one side over here, nothing over there, and so those are off. Now I want to remove this bolt out of here, but before I do that, I need to remove this little plastic washer. And before I can do that, I need to remove this little nut. Well, this nut is like screwed onto this bolt, so I need to hold the bolt with the wrench from the top so I can unscrew this little nut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this nut here with a wrench and then unscrew it from the top with the ratchet. Then unscrew it. And so I got the little nut off and the little plastic washer off. And notice that the flat part of this washer is going down. Now to get this bolt out, I can either use a rod to push it up out or use a telescoping magnet just to reach down and pull it out like that. Okay, almost done taking these things apart. I want to take these rubber seals here off. I'm just going to take a flat tip screwdriver and just carefully pry them up and pop them off like that. So they're just off like that. Now also in the lowers here are some plastic sleeves that come out. They snap in place. If you look to the back side of the fork, so basically opposite side from where these brake bosses are, and you look in the little sleeve in there, it's very hard to see, but to the back side of the sleeve in there, there's like a little plastic latch. So what you want to do is using like a screwdriver, very carefully kind of get that in there, hook to the side of it, and push it around. So you rotate the sleeve about 90 degrees so that the latch is on either side. It doesn't matter which side. From then, you can use like the screwdriver to just kind of get the edge of the sleeve and pop it out like that. There's the little plastic latch. Just go ahead and do that on both sides and you remove these sleeves. If your fork is kind of loose, there's a bit of play in it, chances are is these sleeves are worn, and so you can go ahead and get replacements of these from Suntour. Just contact them or go on their website and you can try to find replacements for these. But just remove these on both sides. Well, I have the fork almost completely disassembled. I could still go a little bit farther there, but it's really not necessary. So at this point, I want to clean up the parts. So I'm going to be using soap, water, degreaser, scrub brushes, and just get all the old grease off these parts and get ready to lube them up and put them all back together. Well, I got the parts all cleaned up. Like I said, just using degreaser, scrub brushes, water, etc. The hardest part is cleaning the inside of the tubes. What you can do is just take like a rag, shove it down inside the tube, push it down with like a rod, then you can use the rod to push it back out like this. And so that's how you can clean the inside of the lowers as well as the uppers. So, ready to start putting this all back together again. So I'm ready to start putting this back together. The grease I'm going to be using is called Slickoleum, also known as Slick Honey. You can also use like SRAM Butter or Judy Butter. Only use grease made to be used in suspension forks. If you use something else, you're not going to get as good a performance, and it's very likely to damage the parts in the forks. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with this little bolt part that went into the bottom of the fork there, and so I put like a little bit of grease around like the rubber part and the shaft here, and then drop this into place. And you might need a little bit of help coming out the bottom, right there. Next, I want to slide this little plastic washer onto the bolt there. The flat side goes down. And try to get up there. And then next, the little nut goes on here. It can go on either way. And I'll screw this on by hand here, as far as I can go. Next, I'm going to hold the nut with the wrench here, and then I'm going to tighten it from above with my ratchet. And tighten it all the way on, like that. So now I want to put the sleeves back into the lowers here. You want to go ahead and make sure you get a nice good coating of grease on the inside parts of the sleeve here. And then this little clip here is going to go to the back side of the fork. So all you need to do is just slide it in and push it down and it'll snap in place. Do that with both of them. Like that. And then next you're going to take these little boots here and put a little bit of grease around the inside diameter of this, and then it's just going to fit onto the top of the sleeve. Just kind of snap it on like that, and do the other one as well. A little bit of grease around the inside here, and just snap it on like that. And then slide the lowers up onto the fork here, and make sure you get the little brake bosses pointing to the front, and just slowly get them into the seals and then pull them up. And so the threaded part of the bolt should come out through the bottom there. If not, you might have to help guide it through. But now I'm going to take this little nut here, and I'm going to take the little cone shaped part, and that's going to go up. And I'll screw this on by hand to begin with. And so now I have my wrench here with the 10mm socket on there. So I'm going to use this to go ahead and tighten that on there, and with the wrench at the top, and get that nice and tight. Now go ahead and push the lowers down. And then wipe off any excess grease off the uppers up here. Now go ahead and spread a coating of grease on the spring. Keep in mind there's quite a bit of grease on here to begin with, so you kind of want to have quite a bit of grease on here when you put it back in. And so now we're going to slide the spring in. The plastic parts at the ends are a little bit different. Notice the opening here is really wide, and the opening on this one is kind of narrow. The narrow side goes down because that fits against the bolt. Just slide this down into the fork like that. Now take the adjuster cap and start screwing it in by hand at first. And then when it starts getting tight, use the tool to tighten it in all the way. Just make sure you don't cross thread it. Also be aware it's plastic, so you don't want to over tighten it and potentially strip the threads. So just kind of tighten it a little bit and then you're done with that. Now I need to reinstall the brakes. The little pin goes in the hole there. I'm going to put a little bit of a thread locker on the bolt here and then screw that in. Put the other arm on here. A little bit of thread locker on the bolt. Slide the front wheel on here. And latch the brake. And I got them all back together and they're moving pretty nice and smoothly there. And so that is how to overhaul some of these Suntour XCT V2 forks. Now keep in mind that like the Suntour forks like XCT, XCM, XCR, that they've changed the models slightly from year to year and year. So if you have some XCT forks, yours might be different than these. So just check some of my other videos and maybe you find something similar. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you found this video useful or interesting. If you did, please give my video a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button. Be sure to click that bell so you get notified when new videos come out. I'm over on Facebook, RJ the Bike Guy. Go over there, like that page. I have a lot of fun over there. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching.